How you feeling? Game 1 tonight. We good? We thinking the Kings aren't going to be a problem?
I gotta be honest, guys. I don't really feel like I did going into last year. Part of that is like exciting, where last year I just knew they're just gonna wax them first round. Sounds crazy, but it was just 7-6. All right, last year be 5 or 4, and going into this year, I'm like, they'll probably play them again, but they'll sweep them. Maybe even not, because I thought they'd win the division. With that being said, it's now like, all right, well, we're kind of in one. I said today on Chiclets, we recorded early in the morning, I said underdogs all of a sudden. I'm looking at all these picks and these predictions, and it's like 90% of people are picking the Kings. And my argument is they don't have two superstars, right? They got a deep team. They got some solid players. I love Kempe. He's a hell of a player. Byfield's been phenomenal, but we have McDavid and Leon. Now the injuries are a bummer, but I still can't say I'm super confident. That's kind of where I'm at.
Do you think it's Kemper is the reason people are picking the Kings? It feels like he's really the only difference from like previous years.
I think that. I think it goes into the Oilers' injuries, right? And Ekholm being the biggest one, because that guy's a horse last year, incredible. Then it's Kemper. Yeah, like I don't think anyone really saw this coming this year. Now you've seen him have crazy success before, but then all of a sudden this year comes, and I actually I heard Gregor say at first that, like, yeah, this team's amazing at home, but they're pretty brutal on the road. So if we can just split these first two, and then I feel if we get a split in the first two, specifically if we win tonight, I'm kind of laughing moving forward. Like all these people who were like, "Oh, the Oilers are done," like you're crazy.
Who, as you look at this Oilers team, again, getting closer to full health on the forward group. I know Evander Kane won't play game 1, although I'm starting to think part of that's a little bit like, oh no, we swear we didn't just LTIR him till game 1. We have to wait. He's ready game 2. But when you look at this forward group starting to get healthy, who are your X factors outside of the big guns? Like take McDavid, take Draisaitl out of it, because they're always amazing. Who are you looking at as like, okay, sneaky guy who can make a big impact here?
Skinner. I think that when you see what they gave up, right? They bring in Skinner, they bring in Arvidsson, and there's no Holloway. Granted, he's injured, and no Broberg. It's like, this guy's never been in the playoffs. Like, the excitement level for him, I actually am really happy for him, right? To play that long and play as well as he had for this many years, to not get a chance to even taste the playoffs. Like, his juices must be flowing right now. And then he picked it up the last, 20 games or so. So did Arvidsson. So both of those guys, really, like if you're going to bring guys in who are veterans, who've played a long time, that you think can help you win in the spring, granted, one of them's never played in the playoffs, and then you start the year looking as bad as they both did at certain times, like now's your time, right? You know that Connor and Leon are going to get points. I think Nuge will be phenomenal. I think Bouchard is much kind of, I don't know what you guys hear. I'm not in Edmonton. Like some people get on him. I'm reading Twitter and things like that. He'll be good. He might have a couple odd turnovers here and there, defensive laps, but he'll be really good on the power play. But Skinner, Arvidsson, can those guys show up and just pick up their level and all of a sudden have all the fan base being like, this is why we had veterans. You want the young guys. You want the speed moving forward. It's kind of a bummer. But all right, this year we brought you guys in. Like, what do you got when the games really matter?
So without Ekholm, obviously, on the blue line, who do you think is the guy that needs to step up on the blue line? Tonight, Nurse is lined up next to Bouchard on that top pairing.
Yep. The season that Nurse has had on a whole, considering last year, like that was probably as bad as I'd seen it. Not just like his play, but also like the fans just kind of having enough, right? Like calling for him to be scratched. He's getting benched games. It was ugly. But why is that exclamation point next to Wallman?
He's playing. We're good. He's playing.
I was like, what the hell? What the hell? So yeah, it's kind of all about Nurse. But then like what I was saying was, he was great. He was awesome this year. He's tough. He can skate like the wind. Like, dude, just keep it simple. If you don't have anything, chip it off the glass. Like, just live to fight another day. He gets in trouble when he's trying to do too much, and then he's all of a sudden like on the wrong side of the puck. Keep it simple. Be a prick in front of the net. Be hard as anyone to play against, which you can do, and you can skate with anyone. and then you can play 25 minutes and be this horse that we need. So that and Wallman, that's why I noticed that little sign there, because I like his game. I mean, 40 points, granted, a lot of them were on San Jose. He's a nice player, and he gets a chance to get into the playoffs here, like show what he could do. He's going to play a ton. So I actually always am really confident in Kulak. I think he's just like, what you see is what you get. Amazing move getting him over a couple years back. And so no Ekholm, it's a bummer. Like specifically watching defensemen as I do, like, God, that guy's just a lot of fun to watch. So that stinks, but you got to have, these guys got to do it by committee now, with Nurse leading the way, in my mind, defensively.
So, again, we talk about how a lot of, the experts, the Sportsnets, the ESPNs, even just a lot of people in media in general, a lot of fans are moving away from the Oilers. They're picking the Kings this year. And I'm curious, like, how much of that do you think is people have a little bit of fatigue from the Oilers and are like, eventually the Kings are going to beat them? And how much of it is legit? Like, what parts of the Kings game actually do scare you? I know we touched a little bit on Kemper, but what other parts of that team that's been maybe a little bit different this year, if you want to call it that, how much of that concern level do you think is legit?
That is a kind of a good call on like Oilers fatigue. And not only is it Oilers fatigue, it's like going to the finals, then having injuries now. It's almost like, I think they're just like out of gas. But with Connor and Leon, I don't think that's like possible, the way those guys can get going and the rest that they've been able to get. Granted, like injury related, but still, it's still not playing games and feeling healthy enough going in. The Kings, they're just kind of deep. Like I love Gavrikov. Like I would love, imagine the Oilers got him. I know we have Ekholm, it won't happen, but you got to think LA is going to do whatever they can to keep him. He's so solid. Joey Anderson's a pain in the ass. You always see him in the mix after the whistle, things like that. And then up front, like, when you see a guy that you've drafted that high in Byfield kind of take that corner, it's like, as a fan base for LA Kings fans, it's got to be like, oh my God, this is kind of what we saw happening a couple years after the draft. I mean, he scored that one-handed goal, like whatever it was last week, 2 weeks ago. It's like, it looks so easy, and this guy has a lot of plays that are so difficult that look easy. So it's him taking that next step this year. It's still having Kopitar. Like, that's what Biz is always like, hey, you never even bring up Kopitar. I'm like, well, I know, because we've become so accustomed to what this guy does. But for me, like, yeah, he's big, he's strong, playoff hockey, but he's not that quick anymore, right? And he's matched up against one of these stallions we have. Like, I'm not that worried about that. But I think overall, like, they don't really have any weak parts of their lineup. Like, you see Fogle get over there, and I actually thought, like, I was bummed about Holloway and Fogle. I kind of understood, and McLeod I understood, but I didn't think Fogle would do that this year. I didn't. I thought it was all kind of based on who he was playing with last year, and that's a pretty impressive season that he put up, right? So that's a guy that they've added that was a part of the Oilers. Now, that's not a reason everyone's picking the Kings. I think it's basically what you said. It's like everyone's like, at some point they're going to lose to the Kings if you keep playing them over and over.
Yeah, like you play the series 100 times. Obviously, the Oilers don't win 100 out of them, and that's fair. Just going back, goaltending. Kemper, yes, know what he did in the regular season. That is a scary thought. I think there's probably more Oilers fans who are scared about their own goaltending, though, before they even think about the LA Kings goaltending. I am choosing the path of blind optimism. I said in each of the last 2 seasons, Stuart Skinner has had a 2-month run. Sorry, what was that?
I said it's all we can do right now is blind optimism.
In each of the last 2 seasons, Stuart Skinner's had a 1 to 2 month run where he's been like a top 10, top 5 goalie. This year, we never got it. I'm choosing to believe through no fact or evidence that he's just saving it for the playoffs. But where are you at with the goaltending? Would you have like a real short leash on Skinner and be ready to go to Pickard, considering how this team plays in front of Pickard? Or is it just Stu's crease and you ride or die with the guy that got you here, more or less?
Last year, I was more on that, like, this is Stu's crease, and there wasn't any questions as there's been going into this year. Now I'm kind of like, after what I saw in that Vancouver series and what you're saying about the team just, like, noticeably playing different in front of Picard, yeah, I do have a short leash, and it kind of goes based on what's happened this regular season. Now, I still really believe in Stuart Skinner, and I know what you're saying, like, all right, there wasn't that 2-month run this year, all right, it's going to happen in the playoffs. Now, it's really hard to think on the other side of that, the opposite of our blind optimism of like, okay, you struggle all year and then all of a sudden like the games get quicker, the games get more intense and you just pick it up. I don't know if that's realistic, but I'm going in thinking he can do it. But if he can't, like, go to Pickard. I don't care. At this point, is there that much of a difference? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like last year there was. And when he went in, it was like, oh my God, he's got to win this game against Van. And he did. And now it's like, I don't really care. Just like whoever can make a save. If Skinner can't, put in Pickard. If he can't, put Skinner back in. Like, and needless to say, no matter what, they're going to have to score. So in the end, like you need goaltending no matter what. And you saw what Skinner did most of the playoffs, but you just have to have one guy be able to do it right now. So if Skinner starts off slow, if he gives up 2 crap ones in the first period, it's like, get him out. I don't care. The team they can figure things out. And teams do, like, a goalie gets pulled. All of a sudden, everyone's looking up and down the bench like, all right, we got to be even better.
Well, there was even that game a couple of years ago when I think they pulled Skinner in that one, right? Jack Campbell came in, they won in overtime, so it clearly has worked for them in the past. Outside of Edmonton, like, have you watched any of the other games so far? Is there anything that's caught your eye that's been exciting?
Yeah, I thought the best overall game based on playoff excitement was Winnipeg and St. Louis, right? And I couldn't believe how Hellebuck looked again. And I like love that guy, right? Like I've met him one time, awesome dude. And last year, it's like hard to watch what happened against Colorado, right? Like for a guy like Vezina Trophy winner, like what happened? And then going into this year, like, yeah, they're a great team. Even without Ehlers and Velarde right now, like I have Follow step up, but then he kind of does it again with Hellebuck. It was like the same type effort at the beginning. And I'm like, is Winnipeg going to lose this game at home? But no, dude, they get third in the third, 3 goals in the third. They end up getting that win. I think they gave up 1 shot in the third period. And so it's like, wow, like to be able to pick Hellebuck up after now the question goes into 2, like, is this going to kind of happen again? Like, is he going to let in a couple weird soft ones again? But still, just for Winnipeg to come back, win that game. And I said on Chiclets also, like, that goal by Connor was an unreal face-off play with 1.5 minutes left. They go D to D. Scheifele had gone around the net. He finds Connor. Connor scores that beauty goal. It's a hard shot to one time. And I was just like, he wasn't in the lineup for Team USA in the 4 Nations final. Like, I still don't get that one. But yeah, that and I mean, Carolina, New Jersey, I wrote on Twitter, that's JV versus varsity. I mean, that is like, that's not even, I can't even believe what's happened in Jersey. And I get it with the injuries, but wow. Toronto, Ottawa, Senators fans are just, oh, the refs. It's like, I understand that call on Stützle was bad. That's not a call you want to see made in the playoffs, that hit against Tanev. But you didn't lose because of the refs. Like, I want the Sens to win. And you see the fan base saying that ruined the game. The refs completely ruined the game with that call. It's like, it was one call. You lost 6-2. You had a bunch of chances to tie it up. Stolar stood on his head after he made those kind of brutal rebounds he had going on the first goal. And then he stood on his head, and you started taking stupid penalties. Like, Ridley Gregg, you cross-check a guy up in the face, you're getting a penalty. And then who pushed Matthews? Gaudette. Like, they're calling that a dive. And once again, I'm rooting for the Sens. That you push a guy from behind. Like, I don't think Matthews dived there. I wish I could say he did, but he didn't. So that's exciting. And then what's the one I'm missing? Oh, Vegas, Minnesota. Yeah, I was kind of surprised. Minnesota, they looked much better than I thought. But Vegas, like, they scare the ever-living piss out of me, boys. Like, even if we get through this round, it's like, Jesus, that team with that size of that D, how good Aiden Hill is, and then that forward group, like, they didn't even have the Carlson, Riley, Smith line do anything. And, you know, it was still kind of – it wasn't an easy win, right? Minnie's trying to tie it up late, but you know Vegas has even more to give there. And then it's playoff hockey now. It's exciting for me, right? Like, the Oilers played tonight, so it's kind of 2 nights before they get going. And it's just a nice time of year because you guys know, covering the league and the Oilers, like, there's a stretch where it's like, God, regular season hockey, you know, game 50 to 65, 70, you're like, get me to the playoffs, and now we're finally here.
Yeah, when the Oilers played the Sharks 3 of their final 8 games, it was tough to be totally dialed in.
The pregame shows, you guys are like,
Yeah,
I got nothing.
who gives a shit?
And no one's playing.
Okay, the one series you didn't touch on there as you ripped through them,
Yeah.
Colorado, Dallas. Dallas is fucked if they lose tonight, right?
So Biz is like, they're not. They came back against Vegas last year. And I'm like, no. This is different. This is way different. Colorado, the trades they made, what they've brought in. I've said before, the Bruins, when they went to the Cup final, lost to St. Louis, I believe Coyle was their third-line center. When Coyle is your third-line center, you're a true Stanley Cup contender. And that's what Colorado is right now. I love Charlie Coyle, but like when he's second-line center, I don't know if there's enough offense. If he's your third-line center, you're like, okay, we have a wagon. Dallas, the problem is like to have Robertson get hurt in the 82nd game of the year, and I'm not blaming Pete DeBoer. It's just brutal luck. That just is such a kick in the you know where. I mean, you already don't have Heiskanen now. He's day to day. Will he play game 2? You got to think if it's at all possible, he's back in. But they can't go back to Colorado down 0-2 and I think have an even chance in that series. And the main reason is like I don't know what or where Rantanen was. And all the people, when I tweeted that out, were tweeting me, and it's got to be Avs fans, like McKinnon Merchant. Like maybe that is like kind of true, where this guy's obviously not just like solely based on Nathan McKinnon, his skill and his points and what he can do, but he hasn't looked the same in Carolina or Dallas. So you need to play with a little bit more tempo if you're him. You need to have guys that are able to at least get him the puck down low and have him possess it down low. But when you have Makar on the one side and no Heiskanen on the other, it's just you're like swimming upstream.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, we appreciate you popping on. Before we let you go, give me your key to victory for tonight. Chart the path to victory for the Oilers to steal one on the road in LA.
I think it's actually come out somehow and get through the first period, okay? Like, I'm not even looking for a lead after the first period. Just come out of it tied. You know, there's probably going to be an onrush of that game 1 at home playoff hockey where LA's coming. If you can get out of that thing tied, then all of a sudden you get a couple power plays. We're kind of living with the power play, guys. Like, we're going to have to score a lot on the power play, but that doesn't worry me. They're always able to, specifically in the playoffs. Get some big saves. I mean, I know this is all like really cliche things, but when you're starting on the road, it's kind of has to be that way. And if McDavid can take over this game a little bit, at least when he'll take over a period, like then, and you'll see if they can get some goals and offensive chances and control 5-on-5, I think the entire hockey world watching that picked LA is going to be like, what were we doing? You know, this is still the Oilers and still Connor and Leon.
And again, if Edmonton can kind of punch him in the mouth early, I think that thought almost creeps into the Kings' minds where it's like, here we go again.
Oh, if they get this game tonight, they're going to be like, oh, my God, like this is our year. Now we got to win this game 2. So, yeah, I'm very excited for this evening.
Yeah, and you can't put the cart before the horse, but like, can you imagine Rogers on Friday night if the Oil come back fucking 2-0?
Yeah.
Even 1-1. Even 1-1.
Madhouse.
Oh, so I can't wait, boys.
Yeah, can't wait. Long run. We get you back in Edmonton for another Cup final. Connor lifts the big one, and then those donkeys that, pardon my take, and take Connor McDavid off there can't win the big one list.
I told you, those guys that I had texts and tweets just in my saved folder to send it before Game 7, and I couldn't send it to him. So this is the year.
All right, Whit, I know you're on vacation, so appreciate you giving us some time, man. Go Oilers. Enjoy the playoffs.
Anytime, boys. Thanks for having me on. See ya.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.